Good morning, guys. Laura here from Hedgehog's Homestead. This morning, as I'm taking care of the animals, I thought we'd talk about why pigs roll in the mud and dig. They roll in the mud because, and I'll insert a picture of here of Mrs. Pigglesworth rolling in the mud, is because they cannot sweat. So because they cannot sweat, they have to roll in the mud to cool themselves down. So that's what a wallow is for, because the mud keeps them cool, and so even if the ground is wet, they'll make a waller and roll in the mud. It also is sunscreen for them. That mud is sunscreen that they can have on their body, because pigs will get sunburn. If you look at their ears when it's really hot, little babies kind of got a little bit of sunburn one day. If they don't have ample shade, then they will get sunburn. Now, that is not the only reason why pigs dig in the mud. They will dig in the mud for insect larvae. What they're looking for is June bugs or beetles or cicadas in your ground. Anything that, lives in the ground during the season, they will go down and dig for those things. They can smell it. They have a better sense of smell than most dogs do. They also dig for roots. They eat blackberry roots. They eat a lot of different roots that are in the ground. They'll eat roots from trees, certain kinds of trees, and they also go after they eat tons of roots that are in the ground. And so that is also the reason why they're digging in the ground. So they're not just digging in the ground for no reason at all. They are digging in the ground to get those roots and eat that larva, and it's part of their diet. Now, if you don't have a space where a pig can do that, you have to feed them more. And they get more proteins in their diet when they're out on pasture. So this is my reason for having them out on pasture. They can ruin your pasture, but they take care of a lot of roots that you don't want in the ground. We moved them out on here in the areas that they've already been in. Blackberry does not come back up most of the time. If it does, it's very minimal. We do see other things that weren't coming up. So running our pigs through our pastures here is really going to help with the blackberry problem that we have on the homestead. Now, you can also use goats to get rid of a lot of weeds, but pigs are just going to root down. They can make your ground kind of hard. They will kind of clean out a forest area as well. But that is why they're digging, guys. They are not digging to be nuisance. They are not digging to be a problem. They are digging because they want all the roots and all the bugs. Now, if you have a lot of cicadas, a lot of June bugs, a lot of all this stuff that hides out in the ground for the whole winter and then comes up, and you don't have pigs, you're going to have more cicadas, more June bugs, more this, more that. And so it really helps with some of those pests that come up during the year. Plus, we're taking care of that blackberry, right? We're taking care of the things that are, and when they dig in the ground, they also stir up old grasses that were normally here. If there's grasses deep in the ground, grasses can live for hundreds of years in the ground. And so they stir those up and bring those up. The mighty hoof is amazing of what it can bring up in your ground. So that's another reason why we like the pigs on the ground. I also know they dig up stones. They dig up pieces of wood that are in the ground. So if you want to plant an area, they can do that. I wouldn't recommend them necessarily for an area that you want to plant. Chickens are really great for that. lighter animals, sheep or goats. They will layer manure down and eat the weeds down to nothing. But nothing is going to root up those are weeds like chickens, or like pigs. Sorry. Pigglesworth, do not eat my hose. Are you done with that? Huh? Are you? We are super happy with our pigs. This is an area where it was kind of a sacrifice area. They also eat all the grass. So they ate all the grass, but they don't like whatever this clover thing is here, or whatever this plant is. But they ate all the grass in this area. And they made wallers, and they did all this great stuff. And we're anxious to see what comes up. Things that we are anxious to see in this area is what they do next. We are going to move them in a couple of weeks here. Once the piglets are totally weaned, Mrs. Pigglesworth is almost done with that weaning process, or she's almost done with, she's drying up nicely, let's just say. Get the girls back in with her. So that's exciting stuff here, is that we can get those girls in with her. Now, so if you guys, hi Mrs. Pigglesworth. She likes to come to the fence to get an egg. They really like their protein. Hi, baby. Now, another thing that pigs do, when they're out on pasture, you can see that's where they're digging. But on this side, where you see a lot of grasses and stuff, there is no digging happening, very little out here. And this is their manure area. Pigs are so clean that they do not manure in the same spot that they eat. So that's how they keep from getting sick. One of their natural behaviors that they do. If you don't have a waller for them, you have to have plenty of shade. You have to have the shade whether you have the waller or not. So pigs just have to have the shade. They're less likely to waller if they have ample shade. But if it's 100 degrees, like it is here in Tennessee, sometimes they have to have a waller. 90 and over, they have to have a waller. Now, if you can see here in the middle of this waller here, you can see a stump, and that is where she was digging up some kind of tree limb or tree stump, and that's why she started digging in that spot. She didn't just start digging in that spot because there was a waller there, or she wanted a waller. She started digging a waller here, but she started digging there to bring up that tree stump, and it must be a root that she likes to eat. Hi. Now, never underestimate your pig. And when she's coming up on you nice and hot, watch out. Especially when she has kiddos like this. Because as soon as I get close to the kiddos nowadays, okay, I'll get out of your space. Now you can also see that piece of wood there. She dug that up as well. And this piece of wood, which looks like it was a 2x4 at one time. And she just finds wood all over the place. In the ground, she'll dig that up. So, but usually it's roots that she's going after. You can often see like areas like over here. This was their area that they ate the grass, did all the stuff, did all the wallers, did all that fun stuff. But over here is where they manured. And so this area is pretty much clean of any stuff, but grass is going to grow really nice over here. Now, let me see how big our paddock is. And we have the paddock inside the paddock. because we have the little piglets separated for weaning. One of the things that you can do is right before you move them, about 3 days before you move them, you go ahead and you throw grass seed down or orchard seed or whatever kind of seeds you want. We're probably going to do just grass seed because that's all we have. But what we want to do is native grass seeds here, because the native grass that is grown for this area is, or that is from this area, is going to survive longer, grow better, all that good stuff. We do have native grasses already growing here. These are all native grasses, and so they are hardy. Pig doesn't like to eat this grass, but we have all kinds of other stuff. So as we take care of this grass, hi baby, hi sweetness, you saying hi to me? You wondering what I'm doing? Huh? Hi sweets, hi sweetie, hi girl. Yeah, you're a pretty girl. You're a pretty girl. You got a snout full of food. So one of the other things is that so you throw your grass seed down 3 days before you move them, and then they massage it in. So they kind of plant it for you. They're not going to eat the seed. They're going to go ahead and plant it for you. Just putting their little hoofs on it everywhere and kind of putting it into the soil. And then we'll fill in the holes where, as much as possible, where they were. And you'll get those grasses, whatever you plant, in here behind them. So that's all I have to say. Why they dig in the mud, why they wallow. Sunscreen, pest, bug protection. When they, it keeps the horse flies from being able to bite them. And it keeps a lot of things off of them. They do not poop in their wallow, so they don't have that manure. They sometimes urinate, but they usually start digging in an area because they're after either bugs that are in that area below the surface, like these little guys here, and they do it very young. You can see that they're eating something in the ground. So they're going after that bugs in the ground, and that's the wonderful thing about having them on pasture, is you really save some money on, you could probably save about a ½ pound of food each day from what they're eating out of the ground. So God bless you guys. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.